My name is Miss Clara Evans. I am 26 years old, and I teach English in a small town high school. Every morning, I walk into my classroom with a cup of coffee, a stack of lesson papers, and a smile that hides the tiredness of early mornings. Teaching has always been my dream. I love helping my students learn and grow. But last year, something happened that changed my life completely. It was the first day of a new term. The classroom smelled like new books and chalk dust. I was writing, "Welcome back," on the whiteboard when the door opened slowly. A boy stepped inside, tall, quiet, holding his school bag close. He looked a little lost. "Good morning," I said warmly. He gave a shy smile and said, "Good morning, miss. I'm Ethan Blake. I just moved here from Sydney." The class turned to look at him, whispering softly. "Welcome, Ethan," I said kindly. "Please, take a seat anywhere you like." He sat in the last row, near the window. Throughout the lesson, I noticed him taking notes carefully, his eyes following every word I wrote on the board. There was something gentle about him, a calmness that stood out among the noise of the other students. Over the next few weeks, Ethan became one of my best students. He always arrived on time, stayed after class to ask questions, and turned in perfect homework. But he didn't talk much. During lunch breaks, while others laughed and played, he sat alone under the old oak tree, reading novels. Once, I walked past and asked softly, "Do you like reading that much?" He looked up, smiled shyly, and said, "Books are easier to understand than people." That simple line stayed with me all day. It was like he had said something I used to feel myself. I saw something familiar in him, a quiet heart that didn't belong in a loud world. One afternoon, when the class ended, everyone rushed out, but Ethan stayed in his seat. I was gathering my papers when I noticed him still sitting there. "Ethan," I asked gently, "are you okay?" He looked up quickly and wiped his eyes. "Yes, miss. I'm fine, just tired." I hesitated, walking closer. "You sure?" He nodded, but I could see the sadness in his eyes. Finally, he whispered, "My mom is sick. We can't afford her medicine. I work at night to help her." His voice broke on the last word. I felt a lump in my throat. He was only 17, yet life was already too heavy for him. I wanted to tell him it would be okay, but I didn't know if that was true. "Ethan," I said softly, "you're a strong boy. Your mother is lucky to have you." He smiled weakly. "Thank you, Miss Evans." That small, brave smile stayed in my mind for days. After that day, Ethan started to visit my office often, sometimes for help with grammar, sometimes just to talk. He told me about his mother, his dreams of writing, and the small cafe where he worked at night. I listened, always reminding myself to stay professional, but I started waiting for his visits. I told myself it was just care, a teacher helping a student. But deep down, it was more than that. His kindness, his strength, his quiet voice, they touched something inside me that I didn't want to admit existed. Every morning, when he walked into class and said, "Good morning, Miss Evans," I felt warmth in my heart. When he was absent, I worried. When he smiled, my day felt lighter. I knew it wasn't right to feel that way. I told myself, he's just a student, Clara. But hearts don't always listen to reason. One Friday, he stayed after class to submit his essay. "You like this one?" he said shyly. The title on top read, "The Woman Who Changed My Life." Later that evening, I sat at my desk, curious, and began reading. By the second paragraph, my hands started to tremble. "She doesn't know how much she helped me," it said. "When I felt lost, she believed in me. When I wanted to quit, her smile gave me strength. She taught me more than English, she taught me hope." Tears filled my eyes as I read the last lines. I know she's my teacher. I know there are lines that cannot be crossed. But if love means wishing someone happiness forever, then yes, I think I love her. I closed the paper and sat in silence. The room was quiet except for the soft sound of rain outside. My heart was racing. I didn't know what to do. I was touched, moved, but also scared. What was I supposed to say to him on Monday? Pretend I hadn't read it. Pretend nothing had changed. The next day, when Ethan came to class, I couldn't look at him the same way. He noticed my silence. After the lesson, when everyone left, he walked slowly to my desk. "Miss Evans," he said softly, "did I do something wrong?" I shook my head. "No, Ethan, you didn't." He hesitated, then asked quietly, "Did you read my essay?" My heart beat faster. "Yes," I whispered. He looked down. "I didn't mean to make things weird," he said quickly. "I just wanted to tell you how much you've helped me." There was pain in his eyes, but also honesty. I took a deep breath. "Ethan, you're a wonderful student. You have a kind heart and a bright future. But you must understand, some feelings can only stay as feelings. He nodded slowly, his voice trembling. I know, miss. I just needed to say it once. For a long moment, there was silence between us. Then he smiled, that same gentle smile, and said, thank you for everything. He walked out of the classroom, and I knew something inside me would never be the same. Weeks passed. Ethan continued studying hard, but the distance between us grew quietly. He stopped visiting my office. Our conversations became polite, short, safe. Yet every time I saw him reading by the window, the sunlight falling on his face, I felt that ache again, the ache of something pure and impossible. Months later, Ethan graduated. On the last day of school, I stood on stage, handing certificates to students. When his name was called, Ethan Blake, he walked up with calm confidence. Our eyes met for a second. He took the certificate from my hand and said softly, thank you, Miss Evans. For everything. That was all. No extra words, no secret glances. Just respect, gratitude, and something unspoken. After the ceremony, I went back to the empty classroom. The same sunlight shone through the same window where Ethan used to sit. On his desk, I found a small note folded neatly. I opened it. Dear Miss Evans, I don't know where life will take me, but I'll always carry your words with me. You taught me English, but also how to believe in myself. Maybe one day, when I'm older, we'll meet again, as two people who once helped each other become stronger. Until then, thank you. Ethan. Tears blurred my vision as I read it again and again. I smiled through them, whispering, goodbye, Ethan. Years passed. I still teach at the same school. Sometimes, when I read essays from new students, I remember his handwriting, his quiet voice, his kindness. One morning, as I entered class, I saw a new book on my desk. The cover read, The Teacher Who Gave Me Wings, by Ethan Blake. I opened the first page. It was dedicated to me. To Miss Clara Evans, the teacher who taught me how to dream. I held the book close to my chest and smiled, tears of pride filling my eyes. Love doesn't always need to be romantic. Sometimes, it's just two hearts meeting for a short time, and changing each other forever. And in that quiet classroom, as the morning light touched the pages of his book, I realized something beautiful. Even forbidden feelings can lead to something pure, something eternal, when they come from kindness, respect, and hope. The end.